Yeah, hi, I'm Lokesh Jha, and in this video, we will be covering the CSS tutorial. And previously, we have seen the prerequisite, which in gist is having a VS Code as IDE installed on your laptop. And the second was the previous video, which is HTML we have covered. So you need to have this video covered. I will tag both of the links below. Now, we have CSS, which is used for designing. So if you see a website and if you have a very static one only, so it will be having like hello. But same thing if you design it, so it could be centered in middle. It you can have images as like this, then paragraphs. So like nicely beautiful website. So this is possible by adding CSS to your HTML. So if you see the current website that we have built from the HTML is this, and what we will be studying is CSS, and then we will make some design changes, and we will see how CSS can structure this beautifully. So the first thing here is how we can add CSS to our HTML file. There are three ways. So the first was is inline. So by adding inline CSS, you can just have the styling to the HTML tag. You can just add here style and whatever CSS you want to apply, like color red. So this hello will be in red color. Now, this is internally adding a style that you can just add a style tag, and here in between these tags you can define all those multiple CSS conditions that okay, I want that HTML tags to look blue, then paragraph needs to be red, and if I have a section, then it should be in center. So all those things you can define here, and that will be applied as per you have written. The other thing is you want to manage a separate file for the CSS, and you can import this CSS into your HTML file. We will see each of these things in code, and you will have a knowledge that okay, how these things works. So right now we are just having an idea of this. The next thing is selectors. So here you can see we have an element. So in the HTML video, we saw that HTML gives h1, h2 and more. Similarly, p for paragraph and like div. So these things we have seen. So if we apply h1 and have a CSS here, so this CSS will apply to all the elements which are h1. Similarly, if we have a h1 and we allot him a class that okay, this belongs to class card and close. So all other h1 or h2 or p, whoever have this class included in them, will CSS apply to them. So this is the way to reuse this defined CSS in the HTML. Now the next thing is ID. So ID is a standard thing which is defined to be unique. So whenever a tag like h1 is there, so if we want to add ID, so let's suppose you are adding like 123. So this 123 should not be repeated to any other ID in this HTML. So this is not a kind of error throwing thing, but it is kind of standard practice that we do. It is not necessarily a number. It could be like title, or you can say hero section, anything which is unique, so that whenever you are performing any action or like applying a CSS, you will know that this CSS will apply to this tag only. It will not apply to any other h1 or any other h2 or h3, anything. It will just apply to this ID, this tag only, which has this ID. So it's like that. So it is very specific to that. Now, the other thing is box model. So what you see is this content, but this content is surrounded by a padding, a border, a margin. So if you see like this, and if you go here, so you will see here we have a padding also, and we will have a margin and all those things which are here not visible. Like it is there, but it might not be visible better. But when we will code here, I will show you how those things are uh, present, and you will see that. So there is no problem. Just you need to understand that okay, there is content, whatever you want to show. Like if it could be a div also and everything, then closing div. So this whole thing is content. Inside this, there could be a paragraph. So this can have a content. So it's like anything which is inside a tag is content, and a content has padding. Then over that there is a border, and over there is a margin. Now the other thing is display properties. So in display properties, you can make it block, which is like taking full width of the screen. So let's suppose you have a screen, and if you define a div, it takes whole width of the screen or a paragraph. But if you do inline, then if the text is over this much of the space, then it will take this much only. And if you define another thing here, so it will be adjusted here like this. So it is utilizing the space. And the inline block is mix of both. So you will have a look of both of that. Now we will go for Flexbox. So Flexbox is kind of organizing things in a row, kind of standard ways. Like if you want to have a space around, so see here we can just write display flex and justify content center and align items center. So this way we define a flex. So here we have variety of that, like flex start, flex end, center, space between. Here you do not have any margin or space, but here you have equidistance space from each of the blocks, and this is space around. So if you look for any of these, if you apply these things in a flex, so you will know that okay, in different uh, places you have different kind of usage to apply these things. So let's suppose you have kind of testimonials, so you can use this. If you kind of having a row kind of like loading or something, so you can use this. So there are different kind of usage of this Flexbox. Now we have grid. So by the name, so yeah, these Flexbox and grids are the two important things from CSS. So grid is something like how we have a checkbox, like okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So these things are there. You can have your display as grid, and grid template columns are 1 fr 1 fr. So if you apply these things, then twig with 1 to 2, or like applying different things, then you will see the magic. So you can just apply these things. We will see how we are applying, and later on you can just make some changes, and it will show you that how it works, and what is the meaning of one here, and why, what this grid does. So by implementing these things, we will see. Similarly for positioning, let's suppose here we have positioning as static, which is by default relative from the like position of the, its position moves by the other adjustments, and absolute is from the parent. If the parent is having some adjustment, this adjustment will also move, and it is fixed, so it stays at its place only. So let's suppose we have this uh, like zoom we have, and undo and redo. So these elements are fixed here. We move our cursor or anything, it is fixed here. So these things are. Now we have a responsive basics. So for responsiveness, this is the website, and if you adjust, if you see here, if we do a screen resizing, so currently these blocks are in one row, but if we reduce the width of the window, it readjusts. So right now we are saying that okay, there is adjustment in the UI as we have different size of the responsiveness would be seen when the window resizes itself. If the width is kind of 1000, then we see that okay, these three blocks are in one row, but when the size reduces like 800, we see two blocks are here and one block is here. So the auto adjustment is due to this responsiveness, which is achieved by this tag. So here we define that okay, if the max till the max width 600, so from 0 to 600 we will apply this logic that okay, background will be light blue or the flex will be this much or those things. And after that, if it is 601, then the other by default what we have written, those CSS will be applied. Now after this we will see the code in action. Yeah, now we will be coding. So this is the HTML file that we have coded in the previous video. And now we will see how we can implement CSS in this HTML file. So we have our HTML page rendered here. So this is the normal HTML. Now let's say, so here in the starting, we have discussed that we have three ways to implement inline, internal, then external. So let's see how we can externally define the CSS. So this is the kind of very nice approach. So we can have a new file of style.css, and here we will code like okay, body, we need to have the body as style as something as margin, let's say 20 pixels. So this style.css dot has style.css page currently have a designing that okay, body needs to have margin of 20 pixel, and body, when we write any CSS inside a body, so it will be implemented to the whole page. So how we are going to import these changes in this HTML? So that happens when we come here, and here we see that okay, link, if we write link, so this way we have, so this way we have imported that CSS styles from this style.css file. Here this .css file so .css says defines that okay, this file is having CSS properties, so that will be handled that way. So now if I go here, you will see a difference that okay, now we have 20 pixels of margin from left, also from top and bottom, but that will be not visible. But here in the left side, it was clearly visible. Now let's say, okay, now there are other things. First, let's see that whatever is written in, so these are tags, and we can directly implement any design to a header, sorry, to a element, like we have header. So if we write that header and color as blue, so we have implemented this styling to all the headers present in our HTML. If I now refresh this page, so the header part is having a text color as blue. Now let's suppose we have two sections, and we want that okay, I will be not writing uh, okay, yeah. So one thing is that okay, let's suppose we can have a class of cards, a simple card, and we will be not implementing this section. So what would be the possible thing that we could have done that section, and something like padding as 30 pixels. And if we see here, if we refresh it, so you see that okay, the section, this is a section, this is a section, as you see in the code, that this is a section, starting of the section and end of the section. Here also starting of the section and end of the section. So these two sections have a 30 pixels of what? Padding right now. Okay. Now, okay, there is one more thing you can check here. If you go for inspect and if you click here and you hover here, so you will see all the boxes. Okay, so what we have studied here, this. So this is the like uh, for each content we will have this box. This the content is here and it will have a padding here, then border, then margin. Similarly, we can see that okay, if I hover over this, so this is a header part. If I click here and you can see below that okay, we have our borders. So this is the content. When I hover over this place, so the blue color will show that okay, this is the content place. Now if I go here, it says padding, which is 30 30 30 30 for the all sides. You can do something like margin top as 20 pixels and save. Now if I refresh this, so now you can see margin top is only 20, left is 0, right is 0, this is also 0, and border is 0 0 0. Now if you want to see the border also, so let's suppose you want to keep like 20 pixels, or okay, 20 pixels of border will be visible, 20 pixels of border and solid border, and we'll have the color as black. So now if I refresh, so here each of these have a border also. So you can see border is 20, border is 20, border is 20. So this is a visual representation of this concept that okay, we can have like it will have these boxes. So how it looks. Then yeah, also here if we see inline properties. So if I go in HTML and let's suppose in the header or yeah, let's suppose here in the header I do a style and say something like color. Let's suppose color as brown. So contact me needs to be brown. So here contact me is brown. So this is the another method of implementing style. The other method is you can also do here style and something as let's suppose the class is card. So let's suppose I want to, so here we have a difference. Then if we are implementing a design, a CSS to HTML present tag element, then we just write header. If we want to add CSS to class, then we write this way dot card, and it opens and close and something like color blue. So this is the okay. So here this card is, let's suppose we want to have something like this. Okay. Now if you go here, so you have seen that the card, so the yeah, here we can see one more thing. Section colors as black. Now if you see the uh, text should have been black, but as this is the lowest priority, the highest priority is given to the inline CSS as it is brown. Then so this is the first as a priority. If we write any inline CSS, so that will be overwriting any design that we have. After that, this design comes, which is in file only, and after that, whatever design we are importing. So that's why the color is not black. Here it is whatever RGB we selected, that kind of green, and this is brown, and here it is black. So this was the hierarchy of how CSS is given priority and all. So from here, this is, so this is the first as priority, this is second, this is third. Okay, we got the priority. Now we have selectors. So what is selectors? As we have already discussed, that if we are implementing CSS to existing tag, existing element of the HTML, then it is written like this. If we are writing to a class, then it will go like this. And if we are writing any CSS for ID, So let's say heading 1. So it could be like, it is just as simple that let's go you here and something like sorry, ID and this heading 1, and you write as something like margin top as 30 pixels. Now the display, so display block, display inline. So let's suppose we give a class as, okay, we will give it as ID of form uh, request, something like that. And we can have this form request and we can add any CSS here. Similarly, if we want to have something like um, span and hide there, and we do this, we do div, or we do paragraph. Just we will see what is the difference here. Okay, now we have span, we have div, we have paragraph. Here we have seen that if we are using something like div or paragraphs, so those will be a kind of block. And if we take like something span, so it will be in displayed in line. So what that mean? Okay, if I refresh this, and you will see, if I take this, then say here we have two spans, hi there in one line. So whatever spans are defined, so those are inline. So they are only taking that much of space that they need, and the whole row is not occupied. So if we have any other content below that, it will be adjusted FF. So here, for the div or for the paragraph, you will see that okay, it is taking kind of space of whole row. So it is blocking the whole row. So that is the difference between span and P as a paragraph. So it is the kind of display how it is displaying here. Okay. Now the next thing is Flexbox. So if you go here and let's suppose you have a div is nothing, just a kind of enclosing tag. So it just gives you a way to write a property here like class and something as flex demo you wrote, and here you are writing something as um something span. Let's suppose we copy these, and yeah, one another shortcut is this format document. If you click here, it will be more in structured manner if there is no errors. Otherwise it will be hard to structure it, so that's why it will not be formatting that. So now we have a class of this demo. How to implement CSS on this? We will put a dot, then we will write this class, and we will write this. So here, as we saw, that display flex will be there. So display flex. So flex is implemented on this here. Okay, we have all spans. It if we didn't wrote that flex thing, still it would be like this only. So why we are using flex? So let's see what next thing we have. Justify content as center. Okay, let's add that. Justify content as center. Now we will go to the result here, refresh. So it is in center. Okay, till now we have not seen anything much of a kind of difference. Okay, now what it says, align items center. Okay, let's add that, align items center. Now there is a difference. If you now refresh it, so now these are aligned center, but it is not visible. So we will try different one. So let's suppose we will go for space around. Yeah, so we need to make it space around justify content. Now if we refresh it, so now it is clearly visible that how this changes. Here we see the gap, as in the image we have seen that the space around has the equidistance gap. If we go for space between, then what happens? So if we do that and refresh, so it will be adjusted, but there is no margin in the left side, then there is space, then the text is there. So it is the kind of adjustment by the flex. So it is used. This flex is widely used. So you need to know, just you do practice by making some changes and all. So you will get on it. So it takes a little bit of time, but yeah, you will get this. Now we have grid. So let's suppose go for grid demo. Change this to grid and we will have some code here. Yeah, so here we have grid template columns. We have repeat 3 comma 1 frame. So it means that 3 equal columns are needed and gaps as 15 pixels. So between the items, there will be 15 pixels of gap and padding of 20 pixels. And we have demo for, sorry, there is div also for this class. The div will have this property that we will have background color as this, color as the text color as this, then padding will have 20 pixels and text will be aligning center and the border radius will be 8 pixels. Now let's suppose we save this and refresh. So here you see if I hover over this, so we have 3 columns. Yeah, okay. So now let's see. Okay, I have changed this to this also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will be more kind of visible. Now we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I hover over here, then you will see that okay, there is 20 pixels of padding as we implemented. And if you go in the content, so we have this content and so it itself adjust itself. Okay. The benefit of grid is this, that it stretches and compresses itself as the screen's width. So we have covered that also. Now we have positioning. So it's kind of that how we can position this. Like let's suppose if we have style as position fixed. If I write this, then you will see. So we have written the CSS for footer here. Position will be fixed because we want to make it fixed. So that's why I've given as a bottom as 0. So it will be at the bottom. If you refresh it, then you will see it is here. Okay. So the footer CSS is here. We have bottom as 0, left as 0, and width will be 100%. We will be covering the whole width. And as a background, we will have black and text color will be white. And it will be center aligned with a padding. So if I refresh this, so it will be like this. Now we are scrolling and still it is fixed here. It will be visible. Okay, now we have some changes in the footer to make it fixed at the bottom. So what we have changed here, I have removed the position as fixed because we do not want that it should be fixed on the screen only. So that's why this is the new CSS for that. And now when we scroll it, so you can see it is at the bottom only. Now the next, now what we can cover as the last topic is responsive basics. So here we have media, which tells that okay, for this much of width of the screen, we need to implement this background. Otherwise, if that is more, then we can go for higher like other changes what we have already. So why this is used when we have something like uh, phone responsiveness. 1 minute will show you. So if I open any website like let's VS Code, and if here I make it a phone as a phone view, here you can change from phone to laptop, and you can also change which device you want to have a preview of. So this is also useful. So here you will see that these icons are in one column, but if I go for a bigger screen, there will be a different kind of structure. Always readjustment will happening. So it is not there that we have kind of coded for each width. It is like this, that okay, we want kind of max. So we have given a CSS that till 600 pixels of the width, we will have a margin of all sided as 30 pixel to the whole page as it is on body. So if I go here and if I refresh this, and currently the size is visible here, you can see the size is here. If I go around 600 pixels, you will see the difference. So this way you can add some CSS properties that, okay, for this width I need this CSS, and for the bigger screen we can have a different. And there are supporting things like these adjustment that, okay, this will be adjusted by itself and all. So you will find this. Now the difference you are saying that, okay, the CSS is also adding space to footer also, as it is for all the sites. So those things are there. So you just need to play with this code, that, okay, you can write your own code and just add CSS and have the changes and practice. If you have any doubt, you can just comment below. And we have covered everything right now, which is important. And in the next video, we will be moving for JavaScript. Till then, okay, bye.